Hey guys, this is Jeff, Concrete the Right Way. I wanted to touch base a little bit more on double trowels, doing slabs, the complications of it, and what some of it is. With our double trowels that we have, when I run double trowels, I have a 10-footer I run first. I used to run an 8-footer, but we ended up getting a 10. So I run that 10-foot with pans on it. So they're 5-foot pans. Bigger's always better on that stuff. I usually, once it's hard enough to set out there, I'll get out and walk on it. And it's gotta be pretty hard where I'm barely leaving any footprints. It's gotta be pretty hard, but you gotta kind of learn your pans and the weight of your machine. Our big machine's 3,000 pounds, so it's gotta be pretty hard. And a lot of it, because one little section's ready, you could turn it on and run it for 30 seconds and you hit a whole 40 by 40. It's quick. You need a big section ready. So I'll walk out a little ways and check it, and kind of where I start sinking, I can see that. So when I'm up on that pans and see my footprints that I left, I know where it gets wet just by looking at it. In our environment, Northern Nevada, our concrete doesn't bleed. It's very rare if concrete bleeds here. So that's usually the indication at a lot of places. That concrete, you'll have bleed water on top, and once that bleed water is gone, you're ready to start hitting it. We don't have that. So we got to keep an eye on it. We got to go fill it 5 times, 10 times, whatever that may be. And then I'll do my patterns, split it each time, split it again, coming back and forth. And then I'll cross it up the other way. I'll 45 it, and I'll keep hitting it until either the next section's getting ready or it's starting to get pretty hard and I need another machine. And on this slab, once we needed another machine, we put our combination metal blades on. This slab required plastic blades for the finish, but they want the metal to hit it a couple times, because just plastic blades behind the pans, the surface won't get hard enough for when they polish it. They need that surface really hard. So we run our combo blades right after that, and it does good. After it starts getting hard for him, I'll throw another set of combo blades, but plastic, on this one, and he starts hitting it again. That way, if it starts to burn a little, those plastic blades will do okay. And then after that, I have another machine. It's a big diesel double trowel with plastic blades, finished blades on it. They don't have the combo. You can get away with it with combos on there, but when you're burning, you want finished blades. And we'll hit that back and forth, and he can cross it up. That last machine doesn't really have to do patterns necessarily. The mud's so hard, you're not going to change it. You're just polishing it with those blades, and it does great. So he can kind of be all over the place, and he's just hitting every place he sees. I like running patterns because it helps me keep track of what I've hit and what I haven't hit. And I can see it, and I can read my different patterns, and I know where I need to hit again. And we'll hit that until it's hard, and then we just keep moving along. I keep panning ahead. The combos keep following behind us, and we can keep track of it really well. We'll have the walk behinds. I even throw those on before the doubles, because those edges, the walk behinds are for our edges and pipes, our floor sinks, anything like that. And on this one, they don't want you hand troweling the final finish. They want it machined because it polishes different. So we'll run the walk behinds after the guys trowel. We'll hit it again, and then they got to come trowel it again. It's kind of a pain because you're going over stuff that looks pretty good, but it has to be plastic blade finished last. And so it's little repetition going over it. Then they kind of mess it up with trowel machines, and then we got to hit it again, clean all those edges on those floor sinks. I think one of the bigger tips on running double trowels, our first double trowels that we got, they weren't hydrostatic. They're hand posts going down, and you got to fight them. So I learned to run pans on that. Sometimes I'd have to lock my arms in to run those pans because it'd fight you. You hit little humps, it fights you, but you can really feel it on those. I originally learned on the hydrostatics, and you're all over the place. They feel like you're gonna fall off the slab. Once you learn that a little bit, they're a lot easier to run. They don't wear you out. They do rock you a little bit. When you're on them for hours, they'll start putting you to sleep. So make sure you got your caffeine in whatever ways, because you'll get sleepy. So my younger guys, I kind of keep them away a little bit, and they do good until they get some years in. I mean, it's hours and hours of running. You can get caught up real quick on how to run them, but then learning to read the mud. And sometimes you're just sending new guys out there and having them hop on, and they're kind of just going for it. And you give them some tips here and there, but you got to get out there. Like when you're running the pans and you start getting a little wet, it'll throw up a windrow on them. They have ways to get those down. You can get out there, you can run a walk behind over them, you can stomp them out, or you kind of power through it. You make a little mess on the machine too, which you think's not that big of a deal, but hours later running that machine and you've got concrete up in there, it starts setting up on that machine. Well, then an hour or two later running, it starts falling off and it flings it out and makes a mess, and it's real frustrating. You have the capability of pulling it off, getting it clean and putting it back on, but sometimes that doesn't happen. If you're in an enclosed building, the only way out's the wettest mud. You're not going to do that. So you got to power through it. So sometimes if you can avoid the windrows, don't do it. Let them kind of stop and get a little harder. You got to have a little patience. They do have stuff now that you can drag behind the machines, like a rod, bump cutter, and you can drag and knock those windrows out. It disperses that, planes them out real nice. That's a whole nother thing you gotta be set up for. Some they have cables or posts and you can drag those, but that's more stuff you gotta learn. Those you can only go forward in. So they're still after the pans, you'll run those on pans. So it's a lot of reading mud. You gotta learn to read it and walk it. And for me, I gotta screw up a few times. Oh, okay, don't do that, do this. And you'll start learning it. When I'm running the hydrostatics, a lot of guys have their hands up high on those posts. I run my hands as low as I can, and you have a lot more control. When you're up here, you're real flimsy because you need those just little subtle movements. Your right hand is forward and back. Your left hand is forward and back and left and right. So on most machines, there might be some machines that's different or whatever. So that's your left and right. And you'll get the hang of it running forward and back. All my edges, I run backwards because the way the machine spins, you're going to run backwards around in your columns. When you've got a few patterns going, you're kind of in your next set of panning, you get your second machine on there. Where that wet line is, I'll run backwards on that so he can blend it in a little bit better. And then the next section, I'll run backwards. And when I run backwards, I know where my line is. I don't want to keep crossing into his if it's not needed. You'll make those back and forth, and then that way I'm good. I'm around my edges backwards. Then after that, I'm running forwards on everything and do my patterns, crossing, split in the middle of the last one, come around, split in the middle again, come around, split in the middle again. You'll start seeing your patterns and getting the hang of it. First, you'll be a little wiggly. After a while, your patterns will get a lot straighter. When it starts wiggling, that's that machine cutting a high spot or filling a low spot. It'll cut. Once you start getting your patterns in good, it'll start planing out and you're not going to twist on you and wiggle. You'll start doing better rows. If you're twisting a little bit, that's those little humps and dips that the machine's cutting. So kind of let them cut, and you'll have to see where to push that around, push it into certain things. You'll see the holes after a while. There's little holes here and there, or where the bow float stops and comes back because it was a little wet. You want to get those filled. I've always been I like to go, holes are easier to fix than humps. Humps are hard to get out because you get that hump and you're pushing it with the pan, but where are you pushing it to? And you just start moving that hump around, it's still out there. So you want to kind of disperse that. So all those guys that throw mud back, I don't like throwing mud back and stuff because then I can fill that hole a lot easier than I can cut that hump out, push it somewhere. I don't know where I'm pushing it unless I'm getting off and scraping it out. Well, this slab that we did, they want it roller tamped because they're just polishing enough. They don't want rocks. So if there's a little hump, they can polish enough and they don't see those rocks in that polish. They just want a sand polish finish. So I don't like guys throwing mud unless it's a big hole. I mean, obviously there's exceptions to every rule, but I kind of, a lot of the old school guys, they just throw mud back no matter what because they saw somebody else throw mud back. And the new kids will see them throwing mud. So as soon as the rod guys stop or so, they just throw mud. I don't like doing that. But like I said, there's exceptions to every rule. When you're on the double trowels and that last guy's running and it starts burning, you're going to start seeing your reflection in it. It's going to be hard. I mean, we've done some slaps that look like it's just straight water. It'll have a good shine. You can see your reflection. You're running. I got pictures of guys doing the saw cuts and it looks like they're walking on water. It's really cool. That's a good burnt slab. Real nice and even. On a walk behind, when you're adjusting the blades, some are twist, some are quick. I like the quick. The twist ones are bad because if you're adjusting your blade, you're a little wet. I keep them flat. But if you go into a hard section, you need to those blades up a little bit more. The twist is a little hard because then when you go back, you got to go back down. You're twisting back down. I keep my blades most of the time almost the same pitch. You want that pitch on the pulls, you'll feel it get hard. You want it right in there. Right before it gets hard is kind of where I keep those blades pitched. You have to kind of see. If you're leaving little windrows, they're up too high. You want those down. On a double trowel, it's a little harder. I've made suggestions to a few of the manufacturers on double trowels. All they have is buttons, and you got to kind of see where you're at. Well, that's fine, but if you go into a hard and a wet, you got to remember where you were back. I asked them if they put some numbers there so I could put it at 2. Okay, back up to 7, back down to 2. I know where I'm at a lot quicker. It helps keep a gauge. When you're doing that, you're messing with it sometimes. So then when you're running your pitch on double trowels, you want them up just enough that they're even. And the way to tell that they're even is if you're not touching your controls on your hydrostatic or your manuals and you're not spinning. If you start spinning without touching those, that means one's higher than the other one or one's lower than the other one, vice versa. So you want those to be even, and that machine will just kind of sit there and spin. The blades are spinning full throttle, half throttle. They're spinning, and you're not twisting. If you're twisting, your blades aren't even. On the manuals that aren't the hydrostatics, you got gauges on there, but sometimes machines wear a little different. So you kind of want those, and you'll feel that. You'll just kind of hover there while you're going. Like I said, if you're spinning, those blades are uneven. You want them even when you're going. If you have a hard section and a wet section, you want those blades up on the one side. That's an exception to it. Then you got to crank them back down or lower them back down depending what type of machine you have. And the good tip on doubles, even walk behinds, keep your machines clean. They do make sprays you can spray on there. It's kind of like diesel, but it's better for them. Spray your machines, especially on your pan machine, because it will get messy. Keep them clean after. Sometimes if you're panning for hours, that mud's pretty old. By the time you get a pressure wash, especially if it's later in the day, you may not have the options to pressure wash. You just got guys cleaning with brushes. That stuff, when it gets caked on there, then the next pour, that stuff falls off on it. It's a pain. You're cleaning stuff up. Keep your machines clean, which most guys know that. You pay a lot of money for those machines, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. Keep them clean, keep them sprayed. They do make sprays you can spray on those machines after they're dirty to help get it off. There's lots of brands out there. Depending on your area, find them, but keep your machines clean. It's a big point. If you can get out there, if you get a chance to work on some doubles, even if you're not the main guy, let them, you gotta beg, hey, let me run it a little. Hey, let me get some tips. Hop on there. Those younger kids, let them hop on. I've trained quite a few guys. I haven't trained as much in the pans because it's hard for me. It's a lot to read. It's a hard thing. I'm trying to control other guys and run pans, so I got to work better at teaching my guys how to run pans because they're not overly comfortable in it. I'm not overly comfortable in letting them do it because it is on big slabs. So keep an eye on the pans. Get out there, do it. Get on the walk behinds, all that stuff. Get out there and learn. Just remember to like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. And remember, don't get good at what you don't like doing, because you'll get paid to go do it again.